Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. We have an interesting edition. We got some positive feedback from some episodes ago. We did movie quotes and tied it to leadership. And so, sticking with pop culture a little bit, we're going to go with books that we've really enjoyed that have really good leadership principles and maybe a few speakers. So stay tuned because we will get to that. But before we do, please be sure to share, subscribe, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. I want to give a shout out to nickmenard.com and the 1% Push, as well as his Amazon best-selling book, Mindset is My Degree, for sponsoring today's episode. Thank you, Nick Menard.
You're very welcome. Hello, winners. Happy Monday.
Here we go. So, books. I know we both have talked a lot about books in a lot of different ways with different people and stuff, and thought, why don't we share some of the books that we really feel resonate with some of the things we've been talking about on the Monday Mindset episodes. But anything high level you want to share with the winners before we jump into our favorite segment?
Well, I'm pretty sure that majority of people know a lot of books and read a lot of books or listen on Audible a lot to a lot of books. So I'm pretty sure you will know majority of those that we're going to talk about today. But please, again, share your favorite books with us, and we'll be more than happy to add them in the next edition of, when we're going to talk about books next time. So that would be great. And yes, we get always inspired by something. And reading a book or listening to an audio, it's usually something that can be done very easily, very cheap or free. And so, yeah, we encourage you to read or listen to something 20 minutes a day. It's way better than to surf on Facebook for hours a day.
So true. Yeah, well said. For sure. All right. So let's jump into one of our more fun segments.
Quotes and quips.
There we go. We had our timing good for so long, and now we kind of fell off the turnip truck with it. But that's all right. It's all good. All right. So, yeah. So the first quote is from Les Brown. For those of you who follow our Two for the Win podcast, we've talked about Les Brown a few times. Really compelling speaker. But his quote is, "Most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit." Thoughts on that one?
Love it. Because it's so accurate. If you set, first of all, majority of people don't set goal for themselves. They may setting goal for their work, for their business, or maybe goal has been set for them. But who are actually beginning of the year or end of the year, should I say, make a list of things they want to achieve the year after. And we talk about that at the last episode in 2024, I believe. But set goals that are very hard to reach for yourself, or maybe something that takes years to reach. Why? Because even if you don't reach them, you're going to be closer to them than if you do not have a set goal. So it's very, very important. And when I hear, well, I wish or I hope that I will be able to save $10,000 at the end of the year. I used to hear that a lot back in Belgium when I was working with, young entrepreneurs. I'm like, well, I can tell you will not reach it just by the way you position it. Hope and pray do not work. And I'm not saying anything against religion, but if you just hope and pray, that is not going to happen. You will need to put some work behind it. You will need to hold yourself accountable. You will need to probably find an accountability partner for, a mentor or something like that. It's hard by yourself to achieve a lot. But if you start yourself with already a negative attitude by hoping and wishing, then don't even start, because it's not going to work. So when I listen to this quote, I really think at people who are not doing it, or people who are putting ridiculously low goal and target for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's a lot in that quote that one could unpack. All the things you said. I also think for some, it's easier to settle and say, oh, this is good enough, or shrug your shoulders and be like, well, it's not terrible, it's not awesome, but it's okay. And I think, people can fall into that trap with a variety of things. And when you look at it from a business perspective, like you look at the exponential impact top performers make within their organizations, whether it's a self-employed small business or whether it's a larger organization, productivity is exponentially skewed towards the impact top performers make because they don't settle. They make that extra call. They send that extra outreach. They go for another no instead of just accepting the no and try to reframe it with a prospect or things like that. And I think majority of people don't do those things, and so they end up instead of setting a stretch goal, setting a goal that has a higher probability of being hit, and they hit it, which is fine, and they should celebrate it. But some of the merit and the joys and the growth that comes from life is for stretching to try and achieve something that you think is much harder to achieve or unlikely to achieve. And especially if you do achieve it, I mean, that sense of gratification is profound.
I love it. And from what you said, I have two things that I want to add. You usually, when you hang with people who are top performers, they are the one who are the most unhappy when they are not reaching their goal, and they're the one who are the most unhappy when they don't reach 100% of what they set themselves to reach. I would say when you have a top performer who is 100% if in a goal, for example, and then they go down to 99, they're pissed.
Yeah,
And happy, and they're gonna get that little percent to be back to the 100% of their target. And that's the mentality that I wish everybody had, because in life you can never be satisfied with anything less than the best, in my opinion. And we may never reach what we want to reach, but we're gonna get very close consistently. So that's number one I wasn't thinking about. And the number two things that I was thinking about when you were talking is setting yourself a goal and you attain it because of your hard work. Celebrate it, like Will mentioned, but set yourself a next goal. Always something next to do, and never be satisfied like forever because you reach a goal in June that you wanted to achieve by December. Great, celebrate it, and then go to the next level.
yes,
And that's how you will reach higher goal or higher level than things that you could even imagine.
yeah, yeah. A complimentary quote by Les Brown is, "If you shoot for the moon, or if you shoot for the stars, you'll at least hit the moon."
Exactly. That's what we just talked about. That's all
Yeah.
perfect.
Yep, yep. All right, let's go to something with a little levity to it, and it's a quip, and it's from another person we've talked about a few times in the past, Zig Ziglar. So the quip from Zig Ziglar is, people often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily.
I, so I love this quip because I mean I wish that everybody were bathing daily. Unfortunately, it's not always the case.
Reminds me of an interview question you got
But
once.
but yeah, my
Inside story. Maybe we'll share in another episode. We'll see who listens and asks us about
yeah,
it.
you need to pay attention with HR. They're always tricky when they ask questions during
Oh,
the
yeah,
interview
it was a
process.
recruiting partner who set you up on that one.
Anyway, so first of all, I hope you bathe every day. Daily, that's very important. Sometimes twice a day would be a better thing, but yeah, like it's a never-ending thing. You need to have that mentality and that mindset of continuously improve. Like it's not a one thing once a month. You need to always do it. And actually, last week I think I post something on social media about the importance of dedication and motivation. What was it? Oh yeah, that the importance is discipline compared to motivation. So the discipline is so much more important than motivation. Why? Because motivation go up and down. You can have bad days, you have great days, then you have something in personal life will happen and you drop a little bit. Or you have something that happened at work that makes you cringe and then you down for the rest of the day, for example. If the discipline is high, you will have a better chance of success than if you rely on motivation only. So I go to LinkedIn last week and I post something about this. And so that's something I was thinking of also based on this quote.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I know Zig said it as a bit of a quip, but it is true. Like, people take care of their hygiene daily. You need to take care of the hygiene of your mind. And, I can readily tell when I follow certain habits where I'm listening to certain videos or I'm reading before I go to bed at night. And then I have this like fabric headband thing, like joggers could use or whatever. And I'll listen to certain videos at night as like subconscious affirmations. And then when I start in the morning, usually I'll read some quotes or watch a motivational video or something with brain food. And I operate a certain way when I do those things consistently. But I'm human and I'm fallible and I make mistakes. And when I get off some of those habits for a period of a few days in a row or a week in a row, I notice it. I find myself being seduced by the negative more. And so those sort of things actually almost serve as like armor for my mind, like positive armor to stay focused on the task at hand, to be seeing the glass half full versus half empty. And when I don't do those things, I find myself getting seduced by the negative sometimes. And I think, everyone's different. I'm not saying everybody has to do that. I'm just sharing for myself. So, like, feeding my mind daily is just as important, if not more so, I could argue, than me bathing daily. But both are important.
Yeah, no, and I know you do that because I know your routine. I know you get up early. Like I could not get up at 4:45 or 5 a.m. So I know you are very diligent about doing that, so you can have your time for yourself, and then before starting your day, having some personal development and things like that. So love that, love
Yeah,
that. Thank you for
yeah,
sharing.
yeah, yeah, of course. Um, so some books. I'm gonna start off, if you don't mind, and I'll
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
batch some older books, and then maybe if there's one that you want to comment on or not. But I think those who follow the podcast or know me know the impact that Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, had on my life as a teenager when I first was exposed to that. But I recommend it often because it has such good nuggets in terms of how to communicate. And most roles, whether it's leadership or anything, involves communication to some degree. So critically important. But I would batch together like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking. Like those three books all came out 80 to 100 years ago almost, but I think they all stand the test of time. But I'm curious, any one of those books you want to call out, or if you have any other commentary from older books. Yeah, there it is. There it
There you
is.
go.
On the YouTube video, Nick's got it. He's holding it up. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
And it's been used and used and
Highlighted.
reused,
Yeah.
highlighted. I mean, it's been, I read it multi times, maybe not all of it. I mean, I read all of it, but I go back in some paragraph that I highlighted and things
Mhm.
like that. And it helps me tremendously when I was doing direct selling. So when I start doing direct selling at 25 years old, if you don't know my story, you can read the book or you just go back to the first few episodes when I explain a little bit, like how I got into direct selling back at the day. I'm not in direct selling anymore, so I don't want people to think, oh, he's gonna sell us something. I'm not. But it helps for the mindset piece and how to become a better leader to share best practice with my associates, my team member, or to lead leader, or create more leaders. Because the Think and Grow Rich is all about what you train your mind to do and do it consistently. You will become pretty much. That's the message. One of the message of Think and Grow Rich. So it really helped me get the first piece of my success as a in a career that I had in Belgium in life insurance for 10 years. And it doesn't only teach you what to do, but it teaches you how to do it and how to do it consistently. And it's a very easy book to read. Back in the day, I didn't enjoy reading too much, and Audible was not as popular as it is now. But I was still reading because I forced myself. But this was actually a book that was not at all difficult to read. So I mean, I love the three books you mentioned. You know, how to win friends, really influence friends. Definitely as well. But it's this book is the one that touched me the most when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, and I got a poster of the I think it's 15 principles that he talks about in that book in my house hanging.
All right, here we go
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for your sense.
Uh, yeah. No, absolutely. So the next batch, these books came out, I want to say like in the 80s, maybe 90s, if I remember. So another batch, I would put in, Brian Tracy, who I read a lot when I was in sales. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the Cash Flow Quadrant. The Cash Flow
Cash
Quadrant
flow credit was
totally expanded my mind in thinking about the difference between being an entrepreneur, a business owner, and an investor. That alone was worth its weight in gold. I would also say at that time came the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell and Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Like those kind of leadership series books in that era, I also still think they stand the test of time. Yep, there you go. Seven habits. Instead, one of Covey's habits: start with the end in mind and do first things first. Those are a couple of them that he talked about. But any one of those books you wanted to expand upon a little bit?
Yeah, I mean the seven highly effective habit. I mean that's definitely one that I was reading at the time. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason as well. That was one that spoke volume to me. That's funny. I'm opening them, and it's been a while, in all honesty, and I see all those notes in there still as well. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's definitely not the kind of book that I can resell, but I don't want to either. But yes, I mean Robert Kiyosaki. So that's also the Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's where he became known, worldwide known. Definitely in the direct sell industry as well. But the quadrant one, I forgot the title, but you
Cash Flow
mentioned.
Quadrant. Yeah.
Yeah, this one. That's literally when I read that, I'm like, I do not want to ever not be an entrepreneur. I may be working, a job or something like that, different time of my life, but I will always do something next to it. I will never be 100% employees. And that's literally that book who teach me that and who make me understand the importance to always work on your profits and not your wages.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
something that came from Roberts, and that's something that I would strongly encourage everyone to read that book because, and we will put the link below if people wants to go buy them. You can have the link to Amazon. It's going to be easier for you, but it's very, very important for me if you want to get off the cycle of being an employee all your life and how to get out of it. I think that book will help.
Yeah, that book was phenomenal. And I think his thoughts on real estate investing, we did an episode on real estate investing several episodes back, really helped elevate my scrutiny for certain real estate and how to think about cash flowing on properties. So, two quick fun facts about Robert Kiyosaki. I don't know if you know this, either one of these. When I lived in Vegas, he mentioned in his book Cash Flow Quadrant, his accountant. Her name is Diane Kennedy. I actually hired her firm when I lived in Vegas when I had a lot of those real estate properties. I actually retained her firm, and I worked with somebody who worked for Diane Kennedy, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
And that was helpful. That was also pricey. They definitely don't discount their services. And then the
As they
other fun
should.
fact is Robert Kiyosaki actually created a board game called the Cash Flow. Oh gosh, what is it? It's like Cash Flow Race or something. But if you're a parent, even if you're an adult for yourself, but as a parent, there are principles in that game to teach about how to think about the cash flow quadrant, being investor, business owner, and stuff. And we used to play that with the boys when they were young.
Wow. No, I didn't know
As a
about the
way to
board game.
teach them some leadership principles. So I still have it, actually. I'll show it to you sometime. But a little couple fun facts about Kiyosaki.
Wow, that's interesting. No, I didn't know about the board game, but it's pretty cool. And I mean, anything that can make people think differently or improve the way you think is a plus. So if it's
Yeah.
coming from a book, a board game, or a poster behind you, that's whatever you see every day, that helps.
Yeah, you want to shape the environment, right?
Absolutely.
And it's a fun
And
way to learn, too.
no,
Yeah. Board
absolutely.
game. Yeah.
Then another book. We may be doing an episode about games. Who talk about it. But another book that I really, really liked. It's a book from Tom Brady. No, Greg Hardy.
Oh,
But Tom Brady has something to do with it.
yeah.
Greg Hardy is a coach, like a coach of big athletes. I will mention some of the names. And I was lucky enough that the company we are part of right now was one of the guest speaker for end of year get together. And he was phenomenal. Unfortunately, he passed away recently, I think 6 months ago. But he was an alumni and coach at the University of Michigan, Wolverines. And his book, Stay Sane in an Unsane World, I believe it is, was phenomenal. I took so many nuggets from it. One main one, that's a very typical quote in the book. It says, "Stop being afraid of being afraid." And I love that because usually fear is what stops people to do anything or start anything. But if you stop thinking about the fear aspect, but thinking about what benefits can that, go against that fear can bring me, or I can go from point A to point Z if that fear is not in the middle. Imagine what you can do. And we all have fear, and fear is natural, but how you handle the fear is very important. He mentioned multi-time control the controllable. Will and I, we talk so much about that on the podcast and also in our job and in our business. Commit, improve, and maintain. That's something that he kept saying as well. Become the world's greatest expert on yourself. If you know yourself, if you know what ticks you, if you know what motivates you, if you know what will help you be more effective during a day, during a week, that's key. And that's all the thing that he keep mentioning. Also, the practice self-love and self-acceptance. All those things are coming from Greg Harden's book. So I would highly suggest you to go ahead and read that book. Also, very easy to read. I will usually not mention anything that's hard to read because I would give up and start listening to it instead. The kind of people that he worked with, of course, is not going to be surprising anyone. Those are all athletes, majority of athletes coming from Michigan. But Tom Brady is the most known of his. Maybe not actually. He has also Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, he won 23 gold medal Olympics medals in swimming. But he worked with them during those difficult times for them to actually go from where they were to become, world-class goats, gold medalist and whatever. Tom Brady mentioned that Greg Harden is the most influential people with his dad. So his dad and him are the two most influential people in his life. So that's a huge statement for the GOAT of football. We can argue, but I don't think it's a lot of argue. Desmond Howard, who won the Heisman Trophy, mentioned that he would have never come close to win the trophy without the daily coaching of Greg Harden during his season where he won the Heisman. So, and more. Jim Harbaugh was coached by him, and bunch of Olympic athletes were coached by him. But he's a very influential person that I think can impact your life by reading one of his books. And the Stay Sane in an Insane World, it's the one that I like the best.
Yeah, that is a great one. And anytime you cite a Super Bowl MVP of Green Bay Packer, Desmond Howard, I'm all in. So anyway, I had to throw that in there. You said Heisman. I'm going to go with the Super Bowl MVP. All right. So we had that one. And then
he was not working with him at that time.
No, but all he had to do was cross Lake Michigan, and he could have been. But and then the last batch I'll put together, and these are more recent books, but you can also view TED Talks. They also have TED Talks in no particular order. I would say start with Why, Simon Sinek. Great book on how to connect with your audience and your purpose. I think The Pursuit of Happiness by Sean Aker is another really good one, and a funny TED Talk. He is a really good speaker and delivery. I think Daniel Pink on his book Drive, and he talks about the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation is huge. I would say Angela Duckworth with Grit. We talked about Carol Dweck and the growth mindset. And then Brene Brown's work. She has a number of works, but I think they all touch into kind of that empathetic accountability style of leadership in different ways. But it's all like next gen leadership, not like old school leadership principles that are really useful. And all of them have TED Talks. But any one of those you want to pick out and chat about?
I mean, Simon Sinek, for me, when I watched his TED Talk that made him famous, I was literally scotched to that 20 minutes TED Talk. And that's what we will try to do better. So that's something, I mean, I don't like to try. We will do everything in our power to do as good as him. And so, yeah, so I'm very familiar with this TED Talk and the way that he brought the audience to him during his speech. I remember in the beginning, it was like the 2-3 first minutes. You know, he has he's a good speaker, of course. He's a great speaker. But after 2-3 minutes, you know, like I felt, and then he start talking and start putting something in perspective. Then he start taking the board and then putting on the board some stuff. And then you can see literally when they put the camera on the on the crowd, the stand, you know, people start actually like leaning forward and oh my God. And then you can see some people taking notes and see. It was like, it gave me goosebumps, the way he was able in less than 20 minutes to turn an audience into just sitting there and listening to 5 or 6 TED Talk in a row, to actually like, you can see that they're literally in his world. And that's so hard to do in such a short period of time. And I would strongly encourage you to go check that TED Talk, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I would say, out of that recent, more last 15 year or so crop of people, he's probably been the most influential on me in terms of adding nuanced aspects to the way I lead. And actually, I have his book behind me positioned in a way when I'm at work, because we do a lot of video meetings, where I see the book behind me constantly over my shoulder. So it is a constant reminder. Don't forget to share the why. You know, a lot of people, it's easy to go into the how or the what, but don't forget the why.
Nah, it's true. I'm a little bit like, you know, touched negatively. I thought you were going to say me, most influential the last 15 years, but it's okay.
Well, actually, I should add on the other shoulder. Where's your book? Mindset is my degree. I should have Simon Sinek's Why on one, and Mindset is my degree on the other. So that's fair. That's a fair thing.
Now, I was gonna mention, of course, it's very selfish, but I was gonna mention that book, Mindset is my degree, as a book that can help people when they struggle with not believing they can achieve something, and looking at my story. I'm nobody special, and I truly believe so. I'm not saying that for that. If I can do this, anybody can do it. It's just all what's in between your ears, and believing that you can achieve it, even though you have a lot of things against you to be able to achieve it. It's possible if you put your mind on it, if you don't give up, if you feed your mind with positive things instead of crap. So it's very, very important. And so that's why I was going to mention the book at the end. I'm not comparing myself with Simon Sinek or Napoleon Hill or Greg Arden or anything like that, but I just wanted to mention at the end.
Yeah, it's an inspirational story. And for those of you who follow the podcast, but you haven't, read the book yet with Nick, and another easy read and not very long. So definitely would recommend you check it out and learn more about my co-host and his story toward becoming a U.S. citizen is very inspirational. So great plug and great read. So that should do it for this. Oh, my pleasure. For this Monday Mindset episode. If you like this sort of thing, we can continue. We only scratch the surface when it comes to books and TED Talks we can recommend. So give us your feedback, winners. But for now, that'll do it. So please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. Check us out on YouTube as well if you want to see some of the works that are being done visually by our production company or different things. It's very cool. And then, again, thanks to nickmenard.com and the 1% Push, as well as this Amazon best-selling book we just talked about, Mindset is My Degree, for sponsoring today's episode. That'll do it, winners. Be well. We'll see you next week.
Bye, winners.
Bye.